Good morning and welcome to another exciting edition of Day 4 with the man Frank SCALISH. Frank, we are only 2 shows away from show 250.
Wow. I'm writing it. It's unbelievable. I can't believe that.
2 shows away, and for the 250th show, we will be unveiling. We did a little group meeting. Well, group meeting as in me and you before the show started. A redesigned Day 4 logo debuting for the 250th episode.
Yeah, and it looks good. Compliments of Mr. Matt Pangrak. It looks really good, Matt.
Yes. A lot changing in the world today. AI, obviously, a part of it. And I think there's a fine line between using it to complement your creativity and work and using it to try to replace it. A lot of AI slop in the industry.
Yeah, I can concur.
Going on right now. But there are some good ways to use it. We have a really good show today. We have a color drop. We're talking all about sound above the water, below the water, in the bait, outside of the bait, on the front deck, on the shore, everything sound related. And I'm really excited to kind of dive into that because I think we're going to have some people who maybe there's some sound that you've never even thought of that's impacting your fishing. And maybe there's some sound that you think is impacting your fishing that isn't, and vice versa. And sometimes silence draws the strike and sometimes noise draws the strike. And then an in-person this is exciting to me, an in-person bait hack or bait tweak that we're going to do in the second half of the show where you're actually going to kind of go into the lab.
Yeah, I'm going to try to do it here and hopefully I can. But I'm going to show you, I'm going to show you guys something fun. Well, I got a couple of hacks I'm going to show you, but one I'm actually going to physically do here. So we'll see.
I like it. It's July, 4th of July coming up. Speaking of sound, big fireworks guy, Frank?
No, actually, I could care less, to be honest with you. I hate to say that, but like, when I was younger and single,
4th of July was your time to shine.
Yeah, it was good. You know what I mean? It was fair. And so
we'll get into the signature series drop, but I mentioned it. I was unable to sleep last night, and I know that typically we do new day. We do one Day 4 merch drop ever. Actually, this is ironic. You're wearing the shirt from the last drop. I got a hat on. I got the Frank SCALISH stuff on, but you have never seen this.
No.
And I know that if you listen to Day 4 on a regular basis, I have no idea how this is going to go, but I do have your blessing.
I gave you permission to launch something
creative licensing. We're going to go through a number of different versions.
I'm scared.
Versions of the next Frank SCALISH signature series t-shirt drop. And then we'll get to kind of what I settled on. But if you follow for the last, it's been like 2 or 3 years since that gentleman showed up at the Bassmaster Classic with the Frank SCALISH t-shirt, if you remember, with the flowing locks and all that from back in the 80s. And then I somehow got my hands on this photo, which I've shown before, which was a young Frank SCALISH with his beloved cat. What was that cat's name?
That was Ashley.
That's Frank SCALISH with Ashley. So this was way harder than I thought it was. This just took a long time, but the first rendition of the shirt, that's 80s. Does that kind of strikes me as early 80s vibes?
I'm trying to think about where
you got to be what, 20, mid 20s there, young 20s. So I thought that there was kind of like hair. this vibe for it. So I went with like the kind of vintage shirt there.
Oh gosh.
With the pink and the purple squares with that. And then I said, you know what? There needs to be a little bit more kind of fishing related to it. So then I threw in a couple color number 7 spooks on the bottom. If you see the color kind of matches there. So then you see the color number 7 spooks on the bottom. And then I said, well, by God, we need to include some more heritage and things like that. And really, if you don't know who that shirt is, you don't really know. So we added Uncle Frank to the collar. We put an Italian flag on one sleeve and an American flag on the other sleeve. We got rid of the cat, so it kind of
that doesn't look like me, dude.
molds more into it. And then I said, you know what? It's just not Uncle Frank enough. So we added a little bit more chest hair and some gold chains.
Oh, for God's sake.
So now everyone knows it's Uncle Frank. There's the bait. There's the luscious locks, the gold chains. You've got the Italian flag on one sleeve, the American flag on the other sleeve. And then I said, well, what would this actually look like on the water? So then we added it on the water. So there's the model in the Legend boat right there, wearing the Uncle Frank new Signature Series T-shirt, throwing a Carolina rig.
Oh my gosh.
But shirt wise, that's kind of what the finished product looks like. Very you get a little bit of the Affliction 2000s in, a little bit of the kind of the bravado. Oh, I also forgot I added 4 stallions in the background there. If you can see, like, the earlier version didn't have the stallions, but then like the latest version, boom, look at how much of a difference the stallions make. No stallions.
Oh yeah, stallions.
And then boom.
And definitely
just Carolina rigging a trick worm right there. Definitely has it down. I think that's a can't miss, Frank.
You just know how I feel about having my picture on stuff. Oh my gosh. We still have to dive into this a little, Matt.
I mean, does it get any better than that? Look at that in the Legend right there.
Well, it doesn't get any better than that, but
I don't know. That's a pretty good. Oh, that looks just like you.
No, it doesn't.
That's the OG.
That's the OG. That's the.
Come on, Frank.
I'm so happy.
Look how good that looks on the water in that Alpha. What is it? The Alpha 210. That apparently is a single center console.
Yeah, 211. Oh boy.
Thoughts, opinions? I mean, we could have a little R&D. We could have a little R&D session here.
You got to have an R&D session.
Let's go to the
live audience.
Oh yeah. People are loving it. The shirt is fire. 100% needed it a camo. I'm dying here. The Stallions tie it together for sure. I agree. The Stallions I thought were a nice touch. That was a nice creative touch that I came up with. Anyhow,
I'm dying of heat stroke in my own home here.
I know you said you're in a heat wave and you have a lot of floors to cool.
Well, and I don't have air conditioning, so I got window units, and they can't keep up. The higher levels you go, Frank Stallone. Oh, you guys are great.
In 248 episodes, I think I've seen you rattled twice, and this is the second time.
Yes, you're 100%.
First time was when that picture showed up out of nowhere about 6 months ago.
Yeah, 100%. Because I'm trying to figure out who's doing me dirty, and it can only be one of 3 people.
Not necessarily.
Anyhow,
I keep my sources.
Yeah,
you don't make it in this industry this long, Frank, without keeping your sources private.
Yes, I agree. I concur.
May not be who you think it is.
It may not be. It's probably out. Yeah,
I know a lot of people. Something that is real and will be available. I'm refreshing the Lurenet headquarters page as of 8:41 Central Time on the 2nd. Maybe it's just not showing up on mine. Is the new Signature Series color drop, and we kind of teased it last week.
It's going to be in a Norman DD22. The color is called Blue Truce. Now, here's why it's called Blue Truce. whoops. So I did a chartreuse. I'm trying. There it is.
Yeah, that looks perfect.
I did a chartreuse pearled. I pearled the crap out of the chartreuse, and if you can see, it's semi-transparent on the shoulders, and then I smoked in blue pearl into the shoulders, and then onto the belly.
It looks like an optical illusion, Frank.
It is. It is. This thing looks so three-dimensional in the water. It's incredible. And so here's the thing. You know what? Let me try something here, if I may. I don't know how I'm going to do this.
Okay.
I'm trying something here. Hold on.
Oh boy. Are we doing a screen share?
No, I was going to do a screen share, but I'm opening up a lot of windows now here. Okay, so let's try this. All right. So what I wanted to do is I'm not going to be able to see you, Matt.
Okay.
But I'm just going to act like it doesn't matter that I don't see you. Because I like to, when we talk, it's nice because then you're there and I can see your facial reactions and stuff.
Yeah.
So
I always can see your facial reactions. I wanted to see them for that t-shirt. Okay.
Yeah.
So if you go to lurenet.com, just click the little search bar and type in Frank. It's not on the main page yet, but it is.
It's right there though.
It is right there on Lurenet.
Okay, perfect. So, all right. So in crankbaits, everybody knows that color is very important, at least in my world. It's very important. However, equally important is the bill shape and the bill design. So if you look at the DD22, this crankbait has a bill that's designed to swim to depth. Now, you just got to let me know if I'm on the screen because, okay. This bill is designed to swim to depth. It actually will get down on 12-pound fluoro. It gets down to 17 feet, but this is important to know. If you have bass suspending off of a ledge, you could swim this bait through those suspended bass. And it won't dive below them. It'll swim through them. And so that's going to give them the opportunity to eat it, because you all know now with the advent of live scope and everything else, a lot of times when your bait gets below them, they don't even pay attention to it anymore. And so that's where this bill design is important. Also, it has a unique pitch and roll to it. This is a very versatile crankbait. It's very versatile. So this bait is equally effective banging through rocks, swimming through deep grass. Two things. I love throwing this on deep grass edges, because when the bait hits the grass, if you stop reeling it, don't pull it into the grass. If it hits the grass, just stop it and shake your rod tip, and it backs out and it floats backwards. The way this bill designed, this bait will literally float up backwards, and then you can continue on your retrieve and it'll go over it'll pop up over the grass edge and keep going. The other thing that this bait is really, really good for is crawling it through standing timber, deep standing timber. This bait comes through the wood incredibly well, and you wouldn't think about it because it's such a big long bait, but the way the bill is designed, its deflective characteristics literally make it almost roll upside down when it comes over a limb, pulling the hooks away from the wood. And it's the same thing. If you get stuck in between two branches, just stop it and shake the rod tip, and it'll back itself up over the branches, and then you can continue on your retrieve.
And that's where you see a lot of guys that when they're cranking, they'll stop, and then as soon as they start again, that's where that fish bites it. So you're literally getting forward, backward, and then as soon as it goes forward, bam, the banging getting stuck draws their attention, the backing out gets it, and then as soon as it moves, instinctual reaction bite.
Right. And I wanted to talk about the bait because I think it's a very misunderstood bait. So when you look at the blue truce color, the actual color of this bait, I call it it's a hot It's a hot bait fish pattern. Okay. I have one rule on color. When choosing crankbait colors, now this is important. When choosing crankbait colors for every natural bait fish pattern you have, you need a hot bait fish pattern. Here's why. Because sometimes the bass will eat hot colors with more aggression. This could be due to its visibility in certain water conditions. However, often overlooked is when there's a overabundance of bait fish, and you've all seen this where you go somewhere and it just seems like it's wall-to-wall bait fish from top to bottom. A hot bait fish pattern stands out like a sore thumb. And so the bass's predatory nature, they take crippled bait fish, they take the bait fish that doesn't behave like the rest of them, something that's different from the rest of them. And this is why you need these hot patterns, because when you encounter that with all the bait fish there, you want something that's different. Everybody says match the hatch, and for most conditions, I will say matching the hatch is a good way to go, because the bass are keying in on it. Whether it's, bait fish this big or bait fish this big, you match the size, you mimic that, and you get the feeding bite. This is reaction. That bass sees something different. It's swimming. It looks like a minnow, but they can hone in on one target and focus on one target only. Most of the time when they're focused on one thing, they don't miss it. It's when the bait fish concentrate and get in big schools, because as the bait fish turn and move, it looks like a giant object turning and moving underwater. The bass have a hard time focusing on one of them, and so they rush the school, and they're not as accurate. And so when you have the hot shad pattern that stands out, that's the deal. So they have the blue truce orange belly one on there. I'm showing you the one without the orange belly.
Okay.
But they got the blue truce orange bellied one in there. And it's the same exact color, but I wanted one without orange and one with orange on it.
Gotcha.
But that's the signature bait. And I really got to tell you guys, if you're not throwing DD22s, you need to start experimenting with them, because that bait is just dynamite.
Quick wormhole before we get into the sound. Good question here. Samuel said, "Good morning, Frank. The one I've never been able to figure out is, what is the purpose of the coffin-shaped bill?"
It has a different deflective characteristic when it's bouncing over wood and rock. That's the only difference. Like this bait here, where the line tie is on the DD22, and the length and the rounded bill has a very big, wide deflection, where a coffin bill with the corners cut out will hit it and it'll be a tighter deflection. It won't be as wide. Same thing if you look at a fat-free shad number 7. It's very rounded and wide. This has a pretty big deflection characteristic, but the fat-free 7 is a faster diving crankbait. So when it goes wide on the deflection, it corrects itself faster.
Gotcha.
Where the DD22 rolls out and takes a second to correct itself. Gotcha. And so that's a really huge triggering characteristic on a DD22, because it goes and it gets all goofy before it starts to correct itself.
Basically, the DD22 does not pass a field sobriety test.
No, it does not. It does.
Fat freeze do.
It fails miserably.
Okay.
Yeah, your fat freeze, your hard diving baits like a Norman NXS or a Strike King XD, they have good deflection properties to them, but they correct much, much quicker. And so that's the thing I look for. I want something lazy, because if I'm burning a DD22, which they burn great, if I'm burning a DD22 and I crack it into something, I pause it for a second, it cracks in, it deflects, I pause it, it takes a minute, and a lot of my strikes come right then. And they're the strikes that knock slack in your line. And that's the beauty part about it.
I will say, if you're really serious about this, and I've done this before, a lot of guys do this. You know, Takahiro has his own pool that he's never swam in. But if you want to see how your baits react, specifically if you're a crankbait guy, you get an ice cream pail bucket, fill it halfway with cement, get a 2 to 3 foot tall section of PVC, put it right in the middle of that little ice cream bucket so you can still move it around. Then put one of those T-posts on it, and then another piece of PVC that goes horizontal. So then when you sink it in the shallow end of the pool in 4 foot, it'll be 3-4 foot under the surface of the water. You'll have it on the bottom with the T that's going to symbolize a tree or bringing it over cover or what. Then you can pitch your crankbait in crystal clear water, roll it up to it, and see what the crankbait does, because it's just going to roll over that, but you're basically making underwater structure. And then with your eyes, you'll be able to see what it feels like and what the crankbait does when it hits it. The bill, it'll stop, it'll roll over, and that will help you visualize the timber, the structure. When you feel that, then you actually know what it's doing. Then after you've laid eyes on it, you can then tell by the feel of it. That helped me immensely when I started cranking. I had a buddy who had a little setup like that, and it was like, oh, that's what that bait does when it hits structure. That's what that bait does. And that's where you kind of get the difference of, you know, a lot of them will get stuck and then, like you said, just crawl over it. Others will deflect way out. And so, but that would be my suggestion.
Yeah, it's a really good idea. It's very important with crankbaits of all kinds to understand what it looks like, what it does, because vibration, pitch and roll, sound, which we'll get into in a minute, sound, all this stuff is very important to getting the bite. Well, I mean, I guess if you don't have anything to add to that, I guess we'll go into sound.
Have at it. The floor is yours.
All right. So I'm thinking I want to do boat sound first, although it would be probably a better transition just to go right to the lures.
We've already transitioned to boat sound, and that's what you want to do first. So
yeah,
kick it off above the water, and then we'll go under the water.
So here's what I noticed, especially on some of the clear lakes that I fish. Something that is hard and abrupt, something that is it's jarring. It's not a slow, natural, creeping sound. It's obtrusive. Like if you take one of your compartment lids and the shock's not good enough on it and it bangs down, boom, that boom, bang down, those fish go, because that is 100% not anything they hear in nature at all. And they run from the banging sounds. I've seen mostly in the shallower water, if your trolling motor bracket squeaks when you turn the pedal, you can watch the fish running from you in front of your boat, especially in spring when they come up to spawn. And you could see it with smallmouth real easy, because most of the time you're seeing them in the clean water. When you turn that paddle and you get that on your bracket sometimes, because sometimes those bushings crack and you got to replace them, and most guys think it's hard to replace them. It's not. If you get that squeak, they know you're there. That's not normal to them. They're gone. There were times when the waves are coming in, and up north, a lot of these people have these metal docks with little metal sleeves, and then they got little metal poles that go in because they remove them in the winter, so the ice doesn't drag them out. They remove them in the winter. When the waves come, those docks go up and down with the water, and it squeaks and clangs and clicks and bangs. Those bass don't care about the noise because that's part of their natural environment. That happens constantly to them, so they're accustomed to it. It's just like with the other show we talked about, fishing in the marinas. guys are down in the marinas. They're starting their boats up. They're sitting there, having coffee or drinking beer on their boat, and the motor's running. And those bass in those marinas don't care about that kind of noise because they're accustomed to it. Now, if it's on a lake that has very little boat traffic, very little recreational traffic, and you buzz over a shallow spot with your boat, they scatter. But if you're on a lake that's a heavily recreated lake, I mean, I've caught bass casting right behind a wave boat before, and literally I'm still in the guys' waves, and I catch bass. Those bass, they're used to that. So you want to, you got to pay attention to the environment you're fishing and the type of traffic that's on the lake for noise. Banging your rod on the water, slapping grass off of it, that's very unnatural to the bass. And if you're fishing relatively shallow, that's a problem. Because every time you make a cast and you snag vegetation and you rip that crankbait through the grass, you're doing something that's not natural, but that'll trigger a bite because everything underwater, and it's not natural for a bait fish to pull grass with them. But if you watch bait fish in the water, they'll go up to hard objects, even grass, and they get sideways on it and they flick off of it. They get sideways on it and flick off of it. That's because they're trying to remove parasites and stuff that's on their skin. And they do this. You see it all the time on hard cover, on good, secure grass stalks. They'll do that. And so ripping the crankbait through that almost imitates that movement. But the problem is when you get 2 pounds of grass on your crankbait and you reel it in and you start whacking it on the top of the water.
That's not natural.
That's not natural.
And I think we all do that unless we're throwing a DT6.
Yeah, because then you'll have bill issues and bait cracking.
because you do it about 3 casts and then you just got a bill.
Yeah, pretty much. That's 100% correct. Which is not a bad thing, but if you need a keychain.
Yeah.
But the reality of it is sound travels so much. It's faster underwater. Sound travels and it's loud and you can hear it. When I was snorkeling in Florida, I could hear boats running, and then I would come up out of the water and look, and I thought they would be right on top of me, and they're far away from me. So sound travels underwater a lot. Because of the density of the water. The other thing is, and I don't think people think about this really, is your transducer's pinging. The pinging transducer alerts the bass. Back in the old days of 2D sonar, I used to be able to get right on top of the fish vertically, even in 12 to 15 feet of water. Get right on top of the fish, real quiet in the boat. The fish would be down there and I would drop straight down on them and catch them. As a lot of guys started fishing vertically on these fish, now keep in mind, this is before side imaging, before live scope. As more guys started doing the vertical approach on these fish, they'd start to get wise to it, and you would approach them and then they would be gone. And
so
then
that's an association sound.
Yeah.
It was an unfamiliar sound that they didn't know, that they didn't relate to danger or a bad experience, so they didn't care about it. Correct. And then as it happened more and more and fish got caught or something spooked them, one fish got caught out of the school and they then began to subconsciously associate that pinging with a negative experience.
Correct.
And that's what, okay.
So now what happened is only the deeper fish would stay underneath your boat. You'd get on top of them. You'd be 25, 30. They'd be there. You could spoon them. You could drop shot them. They would stay there. And then I started noticing that when you start getting waves and the wind's blowing kind of funky and you're trying to stay put and your boat comes up and your trolling motor comes out of the water, smashes down on the water, fish are gone. It's another unnatural sound. And whether they're 25 feet or 30 feet, when your boat and your troll motor comes out of the water and your boat slams down,
yep,
problems. And so now let's go to the current day, since this last comment is next in line. Now I'm seeing fish running from live scope and having to make longer casts. Now you have to be even quieter. It's just they're getting. I don't want to
associating that.
They're associating that with something that's not good for them.
So let me get this straight. And this is something that I think we've all heard about. We've heard certain guys talk about it. You can hear old school guys that'll say, hey, if I know I'm going down a bank and I'm just going to be flipping the cover, I will turn off all of my electronics in the boat, like completely turn it off. But an average modern day in 2026, a rigged out tournament bass boat will have a 360 or some sort of 360 picture. That's going to have its own unique signature that it's putting out in the water. It's going to have at least one forward facing sonar transducer that's going to have another signature that it's putting out in the water. It's going to have a bow mounted 2D transducer, most likely off the trolling motor, that's going to be putting another signature into the water. And then it's going to be having typically like a 3-in-1 or a through hull or a mounted side imaging, something out of the hull of the boat that's going to be putting out a completely different one. So when your boat is approaching, you're talking about 4 different acoustic signatures that are traveling through the water as you approach your quarry.
Yes.
Okay. And I just wanted to make sure, because I started writing it down and I was like, yeah, you think about the forward, but like you have so much other stuff running that I've never turned it off.
Yeah. Most guys never will turn it off. Back in the old days, I never shut my front locator off, especially when I was fishing, because I wanted to find every ditch, every drain, everything I could find. And a lot of times you find stuff when you're fishing that you don't find when you had to idle everywhere with 2D sonar to find stuff. You found more stuff fishing because you're slower, you're more methodical when you're doing it. With side imaging now, we can make mincemeat out of vast areas and cover water way quicker with side imaging, like way more efficiently, way quicker, blah, blah, blah. So the 2D sonar on the front of your boat is almost, boy, this is going to be bad, man. You almost don't even need it. With live scope, you almost don't even need 2D sonar on the front. But
I'll be honest, like the 2 opens that we just fished, I do not have 2D sonar on the front of the boat, because when my live scope's off, I just use my Lurenet for mapping.
Yeah.
And so I literally don't even have a cable hooked up to it. So I don't have a transducer on the front of my boat right now. I will when I get the new one, but I just went through this year without a 2D transducer on the front of my boat.
Yeah, well, because here, look, you could see everything you need to see.
Yeah.
And so it's almost.
I just networked it to the back and knew like that I'm 20 feet behind where I was.
Right. And so like on my, I have 2 12s up front. One is a scope designated only. The other one's mapping and 2D sonar. So on my mapping one, 8 inches of that screen is a map. 2 inches is the 2D sonar. And it's force of habit for me to keep at least some 2D going where I can see it constantly. It's just a force of habit. But in all honesty, I'm looking at the scope more, because the scope's showing me the rise, the drops, the stumps, the rocks, the grass. It's showing me everything I need to see.
So are you turning stuff off then? If you know you're fishing shallow and you're just going down the bank, is there ever a time where it wouldn't be a good idea to shut off all of your electronics and then just go into stealth mode?
The most thing I would do is I would just leave the front unit on with the 2D sonar when I'm fishing shallow. If I like here, if I'm flipping, then I'm flipping wood. Only thing running is my 2D sonar on the front of the boat.
Why
And the
not just
only
shut that off?
because I have to see if I'm going to run into the bottom. Because there were times when I wasn't using it that I would be going and going and going, and all of a sudden, and I'd be.
Let's say you go down a bank where you know you're not, like, you're familiar with the stretch.
You don't.
I mean, there's no downside from what I've said of shutting everything off.
Not one bit. Not one bit. The shallower it is, the more the noise affects them. So you have to remember that. The shallower it is, the more the noise affects.
Mm-hmm.
So going 100% stealth on them. There's a lake by the house that I say by the house. I don't have a lake within an hour of me. But there's a lake that I fish a lot. In the springtime, it's 100%. You're just flipping. And I'll go there, and I won't even don't even need my electronics, to be honest with you. But that's, but it's stuff to pay attention to, because if you're in the cast for cash game, one bite could give you money. And so you want to put every advantage you have in your pocket to get that bite. The other thing is sound and lures. Okay.
One more question before we go to
ahead.
sound and lures.
Go ahead.
So I've fished a lot of team tournaments over there. I've been in the boat with a lot of guys, and I would say it's 50-50 on this, Frank. You will have some guys who have made millions of dollars in bass fishing that will boom, shut down a cast from it, jump on the front deck, throw their trolling motor down, and within 10 seconds of being around the area, they're putting their bait on it. Then you will have other guys who have also made millions of dollars who will roll up to an area. They'll shut down 100 yards from it. They'll slowly start to idle in. They'll turn their boat off half a football field away. They'll put their trolling motor on constant on 4, and it'll take them a minute to a minute and a half to get up with it. They'll get everything set up, and then they'll cast to the same exact spot. The guys, I've asked them about this. I'm curious on your take. The guys are like, I'm covering more water. I don't care what it is. Those fish, I want to get in there before they actually know what's going on. The other guys are saying, hey, those guys are scaring all the freaking fish by the time you come up with the boat, with it coming off pad, with dropping your trolling motor fast. I'd rather get up there and sneak up on them. There's two camps, and there's two guys who feel they're absolutely right in both of those camps. Where do you sit in that as far as approaching an area that you want to fish?
I'm a stealth mode. I'll shut down not 200 yards away, but I'll shut down far enough away where I'm not going to wash it with a boat wave. And I'll idle in, and then I'll slide the trolling motor in the water, and then I'll troll a motor up to it. I just think that if there's 5 fish on it, let's say there's 5 fish on it.
Okay.
I might run up to it on plane, shut down, the boat's shutting down. I'm on the front deck, dropping the trolling motor in, and I'm sliding towards whatever I'm going to fish. And then I slow the boat down with the trolling motor, make my cast. What if I run 4 of the 5 off of there? Yes, I'll catch the one. But what if I run 4 of the 5 off of there? What if one of the 4 of the 5 I ran off is a 6-pounder, and the one I catch is 2.5? Yes, I caught a fish. Yes, theoretically, from everything you see, it didn't affect it. The fish was there, and I caught it. But how about the other ones that you scared off, that you didn't catch, that you didn't know were there?
Mm-hmm.
And so that's where my head goes with it. Like the other day, I was out fishing, and I needed to catch some crappie, and so I wanted a bass fish. Honestly, I hate trying to fish for 2 species at the same time, because you're not focusing enough on one species. All right. So I go to the lake. I know it's got crappie in it. I kind of know where they're at, and it's got a lot of bass in it. And so the first spot I go to one of my offshore places, and I catch 2 bass. And it was a little tricky. So right around the corner from where I was, I ran around the corner, right around the corner from where I was, there's a channel bank, and I knew that I can catch some bass on that channel bank. And then down the bank even farther, there's a tree that's way out, way out in the lake in like 14, 15 feet of water. So I'm like, okay, I'll fish that bank. When I get near that tree, I'll go out and I'll catch some crappie, and then I'll come back in and fish the bank. So I did exactly what you said. I ran around the corner, I shut the boat down, and I idled for like 50, 60 yards to the first place I wanted to throw my jig. Dropped the trolling motor down, trolling motored in the rest of the way. I made 3 casts, caught 3, made 2 casts, didn't catch one, and then caught 3 on my next 3 casts. And these fish were, some of these fish were literally, 2 feet deep, right on the rock, 2 feet deep. If I would have run in there and threw a 2-foot boat wave over there, those fish that were 2 feet deep, would they have gone or would they not have gone?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that, but I took the stealth approach, and I took 6 fish in a space where I only moved my boat 10 feet. So that's the noise thing. Then I spun the boat around and I ran out to the tree and I started knocking some crappies out of the tree. So the game plan was a back and forth deal. And the problem with that was I wasn't covering enough water to do what I wanted to do bass fishing, but I had to cover more water to catch the crappie, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So I went to a place in this lake that I, in all honesty, never caught in a bass. I've never, ever caught a bass.
We all have those spots where you just continue to fish it because it looks, you're like, they're at one of these times I'm going to pull up here.
Right. So I've never caught a bass there. And I've been fishing it for a number of years, and I've never caught a bass there. But I catch a lot of crappie there. And so I went there. And I caught so many bass shaking a minnow that I was surprised. Like, I was stunned, because I'm like, there ain't no way that I have bass fished this a dozen times and never caught a bass. And all of a sudden it's got bass all over it. So that was the big shocker to me. The wind was blowing pretty good, and I had to keep going around to keep behind the fish to keep doing it. And you want to know how many times it took for them fish to leave? 3 times on the trolling motor, and the fish were gone. So, I just, noise matters. And on some lakes, noise doesn't matter. All I'm going to tell you is the busier the lake is, the less the noise matters. Mm-hmm. If it's not a busy lake, then every boat sound is unnatural.
Yeah. So I would also say this. So, like, I think a lot of people, like, I used to go vacation every year up in Canada, fish out of a 16-foot aluminum Lund with thermoses and mugs at the bottom and all that
clang.
So what I would say, here's what I would say: 0 pressure, noise is not as important. Tons of pressure, noise is not as important. That 80% that you fish in between, that we all fish, that's where it is important, because you do have pressured fish that react to it that have never experienced. 0 pressure, Boundary Lake, Canada, that stuff, those things are down there going, ooh, what was that? I don't know. Oh, look, eat.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Tons of pressure. Like you said, that is their environment. It doesn't matter. So this is just me. I mean, would you agree with me there? It's that 80% in between that we all fish, the lake that gets weekend pressure, a little bit of tournament pressure, quiet during the weekdays, the whole 9 yards. I think a lot of that. How many times have you fished a tournament or been there where you heard like guys going, I was dialed in and I have no idea what happened,
Yeah.
But those fish know when it's the damn weekend. Like I hear that all the time. It's like those fish know that those are the ones where it matters.
Yeah.
And they do.
It does matter. And you're 100% correct, because you think about it. Okay. Let's look at a Bassmaster event. All right. So what do you get? You get 3 practice days now or 4?
You get Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. You get 3 full practice days.
Okay. So for all intensive purposes, before Bassmaster shows up, the lake's got normal. It's normal weekday fishing pressure.
Yep.
Or normal weekday fishing pressure. Bassmaster shows up. Those fish get masticated for 3 days in a row. Okay. A lot of guys catch them. They catch them all. They don't care. They think it's an endless supply of bass. They catch them all in practice. Let them have them, because they're not going to be your problem in the tournament. So the fish get pressured, trolling motors,
ripping
lures,
through weed beds to see how deep the bay is behind it at 10 high bypass, power idling through areas to get to the back.
Right. So you got all this new stuff going on. And if you don't think the bass get it, you're wrong, because the bass only instinct is survival, guys.
Yeah.
It's not comfort. Well,
it makes so much sense on the Mississippi River too, because like I said, I stayed in the Black River where the takeoff was. There were 205 boats that were within a quarter mile of where I was fishing, that everyone put in at all these different ramps and all these different pools. And then all of a sudden, Thursday morning, there's 205 boats that all put in here. Not only do they put in there, but we staged with 200 boats in the water with transducers pinging, not live scope because it was a no live scope. And then 200 boats milling around, everyone working on stuff, and then idling out. The acoustics underwater for an hour and a half from 5 to 6:30 a.m. and then the 200 boats all taking off there it never even crossed my mind. Like one of my best rows of docks was 200 yards from where we all took off from.
Yeah. Yeah. It's totally
different from a local tournament, because those local guys aren't staging out there. They're going in and idling out and doing a call right there. Like that is a 200 engines on at the same time.
Oh yeah. There's a lot of underwater noise going on.
Yeah.
And it's just, I just believe that, the more natural you could keep things, the better your chances are. And so that's kind of how I approach it. So now let's talk about lures, because there's this big debate, sound versus no sound. And I'm going to be disgustingly honest right now. I can't stand silent crankbaits. I absolutely can't stand them. I have no confidence in them. I have some, because you have to have some, and I catch fish on them, but it is not my go-to. It is absolutely not my go-to. So here's what I look for. I want to talk about this for a second. So Normans, they're made out of a plastic called Lurenet. We've talked about this before. Lurenet's a softer plastic. Now, softer in the sense that you can't squeeze it, like you can't squeeze ABS either. But it's a softer plastic. The sound of a Norman is deeper, lower. It's very thuddy. It's like a thuddy here. Can you hear that?
Yep.
Okay. Take a Lurenet bait. Take a ABS bait, like a fat free. Now, I'm going to tell you something. Order of importance for me. Norman is number 1. Bomber is number 2. And I would go, I have a cross up. I would say Strike King XD is number 3. And they all have a similar sound. So here's the ABS. Here it's a little high. It's a little little higher pitch,
tinnier, a little harder.
Here's the Lurenet.
Yep.
Right? So if you notice the one thing, there's not multiple BBs in the bait. It's one. There's not multiples. And the same thing with the deep little N. Okay? This is my favorite sound. It's soundy, it's subtle. The deeper pitch, the bass can zero in on that bait before they see it. They know where it is. I'm going to explain something here in a second because this is wild. When I was the Norman Fat Boy, it's a butyrate bait. It's got one chamber, tonk, 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 tonk. Same sound as that. I was fishing stumps and I could see the stumps. The water was pretty clean. I can see the stumps. So I was just going down, throwing the Fat Boy at dark spots and actual wood that I could see. And I had thrown behind this one stump and I was bringing the bait to the stump and I saw this with my own eyes. The bass in the front root part of the stump swam out around and got the bait on the backside of the stump. Now, that fish knew that thing was there because it was in the front side of the stump in the roots and knew the bait was coming, and it came out from around the front of the stump. I saw the whole thing. I saw the flash from the front of the stump, and I saw him roll over to the top of the stump and get the bait. So that fish knew that bait was there because of the deeper, thuddier sound. Now, we have rattle baits. So we got one knockers and we got hard knockers. Okay. The hard knocker, multiple. The one knocker, one, right? Here's what I learned about this sound. Okay. Multiple BBs, the bass can hear far away. They're not 100% sure where it is. They can hear it far away. They can't really zero in on the bait until they can feel vibration from their lateral line or until they can see it. All right. Single knock, they can zero in on it. They kind of know where it is immediately because of the single sound, blah, 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 right? So then why does everybody catch them on rattle baits with multiple BBs? Because they're getting total reaction bites from these fish. They're fishing in a zone that's more compacted, and they're snatching it through the grass. They're getting the deflection characteristics, the flash, the sound, and the bass that can see it go get it. When I'm slow rolling a rattle bait on gravel points in the early spring, when everybody's throwing red crankbait time, you can slow roll. You could slow roll the hard knocker. I mean the one knocker on gravel points and crawl it down there, and you catch fish just like you would on a red crankbait doing it. I've done it on Kentucky Lake. I've done it on Gunnersville when the water temperature's in the 40s, the upper 40s. I'm going to the single sound because I need them to know exactly where that thing is, because I'm not deflecting it off of a million things. It's grinding on the bottom. You're going to get mud kick up from a bait that's on the bottom. It's going to kick up debris on the bottom. It's going to make noise when it hits stuff on the bottom. And so all this, but it's all funneling it right towards where the bait is. They hear the noise. They see the dust cloud. They're following it. They know that when crayfish go, they create a dust cloud. They know, and they focus right in on it. When I'm fishing grass, I'm using the baits with more rattles because I'm pulling fish out of that grass. Now I need to call them from a greater distance, so I'm pulling them out of the grass. So that's the one rattle versus the multiple rattles in rattle style baits. Now, topwaters, because topwaters is crazy to me. So with my topwaters, do you need sound? Don't you need sound? You're making the commotion on the surface of the water. that should be plenty, because that's what baitfish do when they're wounded and they're flicking on the top of the water, or they're dying and they're coming up, splashing, trying to swim down, come up, splash, try to swim down. Or if it's a smaller fish chasing a littler fish and they're on the top of the water. So I was watching this play out on one of the local lakes here, and one of my favorite topwaters from the spawn to the middle of post spawn is a cotton cordell crazy shad. It's a prop bait, double prop bait, crazy shad. So I was watching these fish do that. I pick up the prop bait, making it real subtle, and I start smashing them on it. So I'm like, okay, subtle is better. Well, I went out a few days later and I had a good ripple on the water. Not a huge wind, but a good ripple on the water. And I could hardly get them to eat the prop bait. So I said, there's a problem here. When I got home, I drilled a hole in the top of the bait right there.
Okay.
I drilled a hole in the top of the bait, keeping it center, and I dropped 3 spinnerbait BBs in it. The ones that go on the spinnerbait arm, the tiny ones.
Okay. Yeah, just the real light tin ones.
Real light tin ones. And then this is what I got. Oops.
Wow.
Okay, that's what I got. I went back, pretty breezy, and crashed them. Absolutely crashed them. Just that little bit of clicking noise was all I needed to redirect the strikes with the ripple on the water. So then I was painting baits for Booyah.
And if just a quick side note, if you want to know how to add the BBs, drill it, how to plug it, how to do that, you can search that on day 4. Frank did an entire episode about modifying crankbaits, adding stuff like that. That's an entire show into itself. It's very easy, simple to do, but go back and search for that show.
Right. So the Booyah XCS square bill, this one is the quiet version.
Yep. I've got those.
Okay. Nothing in it. Subtle approach.
Those started as Excaliburs, right?
Yeah.
I've got the Excalibur versions.
Right. Well, these are the
same thing. Yeah.
So real subtle approach, heavy fishing pressure, crawling this bait around the wood and the shallow rocks, no noise, going to get you the bite. But because I can't freaking deal with not having noise, even though your hooks and your split rings will make small noise underwater, by the way. It's not really silent. There is noise with the hooks rattling and the split rings. So I drilled a hole. This one I left open, drilled the hole, and then added 1 BB. See the BB right there? So it's this yellow thing that's in here. That's the plug. It fell through.
Gotcha.
But I wanted one sound, and I wanted a little bit higher pitch, so I used a brass BB. Okay, and then I made a bunch of these for myself because I wanted a sound that wasn't like the other ones, the other square bills. And so I used a single brass BB, which I cracked open. I cracked open a Booyah hard knocker and took the brass ones out.
Nice.
To get it. So that's the sound game. Super Spooks, Super Spook Juniors. They make noise. The one knocker spook makes noise. So when, what, why, and where, right? So that's when it's windy out and I've got a good chop on the water. That's when I'm going with the loud top water, because I have to call those bass up to get it. Generally, when I'm fishing those baits, I'm over grass or deeper grass or long points, like in the spotted bass lakes. You could fish those over long points over 20 feet of water. You're catching the suspending spots. I need noise. I got to call them up to come and get it. Like one time on St. Clair, I was fishing over 18 feet of water. The lake went mirage slick flat on me. I picked up a Super Spook Junior, and I was literally randomly casting topwaters over this 18 feet of water and catching smallmouth. It was actually one of my first elite events, which I took a check in. If we had live scope back then, those would have all been scopable, but we didn't. And so I learned a lot about the different types of topwaters, the sound they make, et cetera, et cetera. You got something? Go ahead, Matt.
No, I'm just thinking of just looking at the different, because I have 3 different types. Like I have well, I mean, this is a little bit modified. This is actually one of Zell's old ones that he added the 3rd hook and changed where the hook was on the bottom and painted it black and gave it a.
Yeah, because that's Zara. That's a Zara spook.
Yeah, so that one's. I'm gonna sneeze.
Good job out of you.
Excuse me. But then I've got, this is the super. I have to be careful because Roland actually signed this one.
Yeah, that's the Super Spook.
And that sounds like butyrate, but it's not, right? It's just because that's one big. It's because the BB in it is big, which prevents it from rattling around. So it literally just hits one time.
Yeah, it's in a cylindrical chamber in the bait.
Okay.
And so it prevents it from bouncing all over the inside of the bait. And it adds balance to the bait.
Because this one is just the regular one that Rick Clun signed.
Right. So that one has a weight in the back of the bait.
But it sounds totally different.
Yes.
Than the Super Spook.
Correct. And so it's important to understand the noise that the bait's making too.
That is also trial and error at some point too. Like I would say if you're seeing fish that are coming up and missing or swirling or barely getting it, then change your sound, because I obviously want to topwater. You're drawing the strikes, you're getting it,
right.
You're not getting the fish to fully commit. So that could be just, figure out, do they want it louder? Do they want no sound? Do they want it softer? Do they want it work?
Right. Exactly.
But as a general rule of thumb, the more ambient, natural water noise that there is, wind, waves, depth, that type of stuff,
right,
more sound. The calmer it is, the more subtle it is, the less obnoxious, quote unquote, you want your top water to be.
Right. So I was going to show you, I was going to do a bait hack, but I think I'm going to not do the bait hack. I think we're just going to talk about it, if that's okay with you, because I have another hack that I want to show you.
Okay.
Okay. So buzz baits, clack versus no clack, smooth versus squeak, or plop versus squeak. Mm-hmm. I call it smooth. If it doesn't
gurgle.
Squeak, it's the gurgle versus the squeak. I'm a squeaker. I want that thing chirping like a bird.
Oh boy, I feel like Drunkwood's in the comments here, and that will be clipped.
Yeah, I'm afraid of that. I want it chirping like a bird. To me, the chirping sound that a good, properly worked buzzbait makes it's harmony. And I think the fish react to it. And yeah, thanks, Drunkwood. I'm in trouble. And so I prefer the squeaker. Clackers have a place. The clacker, for those that don't know, it's the buzzbait with a metal edge that hits the blade, or the blade's over the head of the buzzbait and it hits the head of the buzzbait. Those are your clacking noise. Sometimes, like, you could bend the blade down so it hits the wire arm too, to make a tick 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 sound. That's a trick you can do. I prefer the chirping noise, the squeaky noise, more than the clacker, although I have seen in certain conditions where the clacker really performs.
It's a mystery to me, Frank. I do not understand. We actually, when you were talking about buzzbaits before, I said I do not understand why, like in Oklahoma, there are some lakes where that exact booyah one with the clack thing on it, like that's what all the guys throw. Then there's other lakes where it's 100% a squeak or a gurgle without the clack. And I don't know. It's a drastic difference between them. It's like, hey, you throw this buzzbait on these lakes and this buzzbait on these lakes. And I, for the life of me, can't figure out or even come up with any logical reason why a bass 100 miles away from another bass in the same style of lake in Oklahoma wants one that's going and one that's going.
Yeah, I can't figure it out either. And I'm going to tell you something. I've used the clacker in the dirtiest freaking water imaginable and slaughtered them on it. But conversely, I've used it in lakes with 5-foot visibility over deep grass and slaughtered them on it. I think the reality of the grass lake that I was fishing, which everybody fishes, it's one of our most popular lakes here. I think the reality of that was we were calling fish from deep grass to come up and get it. And so they were coming from a greater distance. So the noise was helping. The dirty, muddy water was pretty evident. It was filthy. And so we needed the noise to get them to, come to the bait. But even the day we were catching them on the clackers on that grass lake, I still caught them on the squeaker, but I caught them shallower. Like when I was over the 9-foot grass, which doesn't exist in the lake anymore. When I was catching them on the clacker, I was over the 9-10-foot grass. When I was catching them on the squeaker, I was over the 6-foot stuff. So I think the deeper grass, they were coming up for it. It was an easier call for them to come and get it. They can hear it better. And I think the shallower grass, they wanted the more subtle sound because they were right on top of it. You know what I mean?
Okay, now answer me this. We got a lot of rock points in Oklahoma.
Yeah, dude.
And I mean, classic post-spawn to fall, late fall bite is you roll up on a secondary or a main lake point, you fire a big topwater out over it, simulates a gizzard shad, and you can crack a couple early. That being said, why do I have little confidence or little success throwing a buzz bait over the top of those points instead of a walking bait or even a plopper style bait? It seems like, to me, those fish are way less likely to come up on a buzz bait over water than they are a walking bait or even a plopper style bait. And I think that's odd because you have sound, you have the shad, you have all that, you're still moving the bait fast, but it seems like it's 2-3 to 1. Like if you get a bite on a buzzbait, it's going to be in the first 2 or 3 cranks, or you're throwing it way the hell up on the very top of the shore and catching it before it drops off. But if you get depth with nothing underneath it, the buzzbait to me becomes drastically less effective.
I agree. Yeah, 100%. I agree. And I think it's, and the plopper is going to disprove this, but I think it's because the walking bait, you control the cadence on the walking bait. So you could make it walk, or you can make it go, you know what I mean? Where with the buzzbait, the best case scenario you got is overblade it and slow it down. But most of the time, you're just casting it out and reeling it in. Same thing with the dang plopper, though. It's a cast and retrieve bait.
But there's way more fish that in the middle of nowhere will truck a plopper.
Right. But I think the sound is much different. Okay. It's more of a where the buzzbait's that sound. I think you can't beat the buzzbait throwing it over the shallow gravel.
Yeah, I wonder if there's something about a higher pitch versus a deeper pitch that translates different based on water depth. So I would eventually, I have no idea if this is accurate. I'm just BSing right here, but it's just hypothesization. is a higher pitch in that shallower water or whatever, but it doesn't transmit as well once you get into more deeper water or more ambient water around it. Does that make sense? To where you've got a spook, you've got a plopper, to where something that's deeper, that's dark, it's going to pull more fish.
That's what I think.
Okay.
That's what I think. I think they can hear the deeper noise farther.
Mm-hmm. And you can chuck a buzzbait a long way if you thread a toad on it.
Yeah, no question about
like
it.
Just as far as any other bait that you want to. You said because buzzbaits cast like poop. I agree. When it was back to where we were just throwing the skirted on it, like I can't tell you the last time I just threw a straight skirt buzzbait like back in the early 2000s.
Yeah, you know what? I never did.
You always were a toad guy?
I always had a trailer on it.
A swim bait, a toad, something of that nature, a split tail, something that added a little bit of weight, gave him something to hold on to.
Always, because my go-to buzzbait was a 1/4 ouncer.
Mm-hmm.
So I could slow it way down. I had a little bit oversized blade on it. But yeah, Chuck's right. I mean, the low pitch travels farther.
I have more buzzbaits than any other topwater. Like if there is something that I am a sucker for in a tackle store, it is a buzzbait that looks good that I do not have and have not thrown and do not know how it sounds. I will freaking buy 2 of every unique style buzzbait. I mean, I've got if there is one thing that I have hundreds of different buzzbaits.
Dang.
Like, wow. I have boxes and boxes of buzzbaits.
I have 3. Literally 3.
The Booyah Clacker.
The Booyah Clacker, and then I have a custom made one.
Gotcha.
And that's it. The next thing I want to address is rattles. So in jigs and worms, jigs and soft plastics. So I am a 100% true and tried. If I'm throwing something that bounces on the bottom, like a jig, or if I'm flipping a craw or a lizard or something, I'm putting a rattle in it. I'm going to tell you why. When I had a 125 gallon fish tank set up, and I had bass in it, and I had bass, bluegills, and crappies in the thing, but I also dumped in a bunch of crayfish in it. And one day I was doing a water change, and I shut all the filtration off, and I was getting ready to do the water change. And the aquarium's really tall, so I got to get on a step stool, and then I got to lean into it to get the stuff and move it around and get the little suction thing. I was over the aquarium and I heard clicking, and I'm like, what is that? And I heard the clicking, and it wasn't loud. It wasn't constant. It was just every now and then. And so I lifted up one of the driftwoods I had where I thought I heard the clicking. I lifted it up, and there were 3 crayfish under there. And so I realized at an early age that those things make noises in the water. They make little clicking sounds. So the rattle that I prefer in my soft plastics is it's not a big rattle. It's a miniature glass rattle. It's tiny. I don't have my ruler. Yeah, I do. It's a smidge longer than a 1/2 inch.
Okay.
Rattle. It's got 2 tiny BBs in it. Just
gotcha.
two little tiny BBs in it. This is my favorite one because it sounds just like those damn crayfish in my aquarium did. And so I use these in all of my soft plastics. And you have to be careful with rattles and soft plastics because you don't want to change the action on them. So I'm going to show you a trick right now. So I'm going to take my hook that everybody hates that I use. My hook.
Yep.
All right. So here's what I got. I'm going to do the lizard first because this is going to blow you guys away. So in my lizard, all right, this just happens to be a Yum June bug lizard. I'm going to flip it over onto the belly side of it, and I'm going to take the rattle, and right underneath the chin, like that, that's where I start to go in with the rattle, right underneath the chin. And I'm going to put the rattle actually right in the neck of the lizard. So that rattle is in the neck of the lizard. And if you can see, you can't see the bulge, you can't see the rattle, nothing. But you can see the hole in the chin where the rattle went in. That's the perfect place to put the rattle in the lizard. And here's why. Because when I put the lizard on the hook, and I'm just rigging it, text posing it, when I put the lizard on the hook, okay, that's text posed. The rattle is right here, which does not get in the way of me hooking the fish. If I put the rattle back here on the lizard's belly, I'm going to kill the action of the lizard when I'm bringing it up over stuff. I'm going to kill that. It's going to have a hard spot in it, and it's not going to bend as much. And so that's where the rattle goes. It's not in the way of the hook, and it'll stay there. And I put it in on the belly side, not on the back side. And that's in my opinion, that's the proper way to do it. So then if I go to the cross style bait, I'm doing the exact same thing on the cross style bait, but I don't have the head and neck as a gauge. So with the spine craw, it's easy on the spine craw, because if you look at the belly, it's got these points, ridge segments on it. So on the spine craw, I just go into the second segment, and do the exact same thing on the spine craw. Whoops. Do the exact same thing on the spine craw. And then rig it the same way. And it's in the same spot. It's right up the front of the hook. It's not by the gap. It's not by any of the part that you want to catch the fish in. With my jigs, I use this rattle right here. It's the tiny little black rattle.
Yep. That snaps into the collar that has the little double
right
back of your jig that after it sits for a year and a half get brittle and break.
Correct, which I can't stand. So this particular one is a single rattle in here. It's just one. And so a lot of times what I do with the jig, when I cast the jig out there and I hit the rocks or I get it through the branches of a brush pile, I just shake it. And this little thing just does that little crayfish click. And I can't tell you how many times.
Not obnoxious at all.
Not at all. It's super subtle. I can't tell you how many times I'd be shaking that thing, and then I stop it, and all of a sudden it goes, thunk, and I got him. And so that's what I do with my soft plastics and my jigs. I try not to complicate it, but if I didn't hear those doggone crayfish with my own ears, I would have went with the loudest, obnoxious rattles I could find. But when I heard that, I'm like, those big giant rattles are not normal. That is not natural, and I'm not throwing those.
I remember, the biffle bug, which is now, what is that called now?
Boy, did you throw me off guard, big guy.
It's a yum bait.
Yeah, it's the yum.
Scutterbug.
Scutterbug.
So the scutterbug is hollow on the inside. And back when that was all the craze on that, a lot of the serious scutterbuggers in this neck of the woods all had their own individual rattles, whether it was like kind of what Jeff Crete used to do, which is a straw that he would put a couple of little shots in and then melt the sides and jam it in there, or a glass rattle. You know, they had actual rattle. Do they still have the rattles? I know they used to make the rattles that actually fit the exact tube on the inside of it, but that bait, as you reel it, you're constantly keeping the motion of it. That was the big thing in Oklahoma, was what type of rattle are you stuffing inside of your scutterbug? Yes.
And so really that's kind of, you know, that's kind of it. The hack that I didn't show, I was going to show you how to make a buzzbait squeak, but we'll save that for a bait hack day. I think it'll be a better bait hack day.
I like it. I wonder if Yum still makes those. Rattles, because they fit perfect into that. They were like a little bit bigger. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, and they went inside of the thing.
Yep, and then you just did a.
Somebody back in the day made a rattle round as big as a marble.
Yep.
That fit really good in those.
Yep. And then Jeff Crete used to have that hack where I think you had to use, I'm not kidding, but you had to use the Chick-fil-A straws, maybe.
Yeah, the wide diameter ones.
Yep. And then you cut it, and then you basically make like a fortune cookie out of it with 2 BBs, and then the point stuck inside of the tube or the hollow body.
Yeah, it's crazy, dude. I used to take a straw. Back in the old days, I had a pellet gun, and I used to make shot shells for my pellet gun using a straw. Just a little side note.
I mean, that's cool. It's the stuff like whether you're tournament fisherman, whether you're not, it's stuff that gets you a few more bites.
Yeah, I mean, the reality of it is exactly that. We all are fighting for an extra fish.
Mm-hmm. We did a show recently called Micro Adjustments, Big Results.
Yeah.
This is a really good piggyback show.
Yeah, this is, it's just interesting to me, and it's just I pay a lot of attention to sound, to color. Well, clearly I pay attention to color because I paint everything. But it's amazing to me when you come up with something that actually solves the problem, how successful it is. To sit down and make something up out of the blue, you're not doing it. You're just not doing it. You have to solve a problem, and when you solve the problem, it works. And that's the beauty part about all this. It's all problem solving. And every time I'm on the water, if there's an issue, and I'm looking to solve the problem, and that's what keeps me going. I mean, it's really important.
Do you remember this one? The Lugger Lure triple rattleback jig that was just it still is.
It's the rattle bait of jigs.
It's literally just that. You would have a tough time getting it. The trailer would always split if you tried to throw it up on there. It was more for the hook was short on it. But man, when I was back in the late 90s, I would shake the hell out of that thing behind guys in the Assumption Bass Club.
Yeah.
That chartreuse and black with a Zoom super chunk, the little flapper chunk.
Yeah, heck yeah, dude. Heck yeah.
The triple rattleback.
Yeah, that was the loudest. Honestly, that was like the loudest jig ever.
Yeah.
And you know what? I bought a couple of them, and I bought a couple of them. I fished them a few times and never threw it again. Yeah, I was like, wow, that is loud.
They don't make it anymore, but Picasso had one that had remember there would be the rattle that you could it was plastic, but you could thread it on, and then it had the little J hook that would go under the collar.
Yes.
And you have 1 3-pounder that crunches it and the rattle's freaking instantly broke.
Oh yeah. Dude.
Those were freaking loud.
Yeah, those were loud.
I liked the black and blue color, but it was the round kind of harder rubbers, but it had the flake in it. So, you'd rig one and then you look like you just spent the night at the strip club afterwards if you touched your
Yeah,
face
that's
for the
all
next 4 hours.
all the glitter would come off.
Yeah. Then you mix that with the bang combo and you're glittery and smell like freaking crawfish.
Dude, how nasty. All those fish scents.
90 degrees in the sun.
Do you remember
Beef
when
sticks and a Gatorade?
You know, the smell that's the most distinctive of all the fish formulas out there was the original fish formula.
I'm not familiar with that.
Original fish formula, that's what it was called.
That's the name of it.
Yeah, fish formula. That stuff had a unique odor to it. And when you would use it, your boat would literally smell like that for weeks. For weeks, it would smell like that stuff. It almost had like an anise type of smell to it. It was so obnoxious. And then
what kind of package did it come in?
It came in a little tiny spray bottle. I think the label might have been gold, and it said fish formula on it.
Boy, I would like to find some of this.
Yeah, look up fish formula bass attractant, because they used to call them attractants back then, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
Fish formula. Oh, I think I found it.
Yeah, that's it. That is it. That is absolutely it. And you can tell by how gnarly that bottle is that is not a brand new picture. But yeah, that fish formula, holy smokes, man.
What, you just slather it on there for a cast or two?
Oh, yeah. And then when you lay the bait on your carpeting with that stuff all over it, your carpet would stink like that for weeks.
Interesting. So the grandson of the founder of Fish Formula now makes Bait Pop, which is why Bait Pop has a scent that's original fish formula in the Bait Pop.
Outstanding. You learn something new every day.
Cheese coming through. I would think that a guy who had a pristine mint condition juice jug for dipping and flipping would know about his scents and the history of scents.
Yeah, no kidding. Especially fish formula, because that was the juice jug dip of choice.
So I remember the game fish yellow on an angle for some reason resonates with me.
Yeah,
but the name and all that, like that was that I don't remember that. I remember the game fish because I feel like they ended up doing game fish in a spray bottle similar to the Bang later on. Like the next version of that was an aerosol can.
It wasn't aerosol or pump.
It was yeah.
Crazy, isn't it?
Interesting.
We've come so far. We've come so far as a fishing culture.
I'll tell you what. I have never even heard of this. This is on Amazon. Fish attractant paste, and I'm headed up north. Alewife.
Yeah, so Kodiak. So that is...
You've heard of this?
Yeah, so back in the day, there was a guy named Joe Coolis, and he made freeze-dried fish paste. And I used to use it for the smallmouth on Lake Erie, and it was the bomb.
I mean, I'm just saying, if I'm targeting smallmouth that are eating alewife.
Yeah. I still have some. I got bags of the freeze-dried powder dust from Joe, and then I would mix my own. But his paste was money. We would literally stick it right inside the tube. We'd get crawfish scent and stick it right inside the tube. And it was like using live bait.
Interesting.
Yeah. And his brand was called Kodiak, by the way. So that's probably still his if he's alive. I hope he is. But yeah,
I had never heard it. I don't even know what I'm pulling up now, but There's all sorts of stuff here. Scent paste, minnow, fish attractant, alewife.
Yeah, dude, you squirt that right inside your tube.
Great product when trolling, will stay on the paste for a long time. Interesting.
Yeah.
Do you think it's a problem? Like, let's say you put a crawfish scent on a minnow bait or a minnow bait on a crawfish scent. Do you
No,
think
I don't think it's a no.
I'm gonna eat that crawfish, but it smells like a minnow.
Yeah, no, I don't. I think the scent is just an added something to give the fish something to hold on to longer.
Mm-hmm. Scent, color, sound.
Yeah.
But in order of importance, scent, color, sound. In my opinion, I think you would choose color, sound, scent.
Yeah.
That's how the big three: color, sound, scent.
Yes. In order.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, but we use that stuff all the time. And it was really good, man, alive. It was really good.
Anything else? That was a good show. We're an hour and a half in.
Wow. No, man. I just next week we might have something very cool and fun and important to announce, by the way.
Am I aware of this? Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah, no, very cool.
Yeah, you are.
I'm not sure. I'm sure it'll be updated by the time it's out. There's a couple people who are still having problems getting to the new one. So, like, if you just go right now, as of now, and it could be on the main page, but if you go to Lurenet, there's this little tab up here. Then you click in Frank, hit enter. That's the new one, right? Blue Tree Signature Series.
Yes.
Blue Tree Signature Series. There it is. You can get it on there. Then use code capital BTL25. 15% off that. And then if you order a certain amount, it's free shipping on that too. But that's the way to get to it right now. Sometimes it just takes a little while to populate the main page, where it pops up, but this is the backdoor method to get the new Signature Series drop.
Yeah, which is weird because usually the banner's up first.
Yeah. But it's in stock if you're looking for it. There it is.
Perfect. That's perfect.
You got anything else?
No, dude. No, I'm just baking. I got
what would you say that if you were to put an over under on the studio temperature right now, 78?
I'd say you're probably right on it.
Right on. Like it is definitely post spawn in the studio.
Oh, and well, the problem is this. Okay, I have a big unit on the first floor. The problem is this. I have one of those portable inside window units that you put the tubes out the window, and it's on the first floor, and it is magnificent.
Yeah, you don't have central heating or central air in the Scalish household because you live on 4 different levels.
And the house was built in 1914.
Oh, it's in great shape for being a 1914 house.
Oh, it's ancient, dude. And so it's all lath and plaster and all the ass aches you get with an old home. And as you get to the second floor, you're at the second level of hell. And when you get to the third floor, you're in hell. It is so hot on the third floor, it's ridiculous. And the second floor is equally ridiculous. And so I have to put window units in all the bedrooms and turn them on and close all the bedroom doors, or you couldn't sleep at night.
So you're individually heating each or cooling each room.
Right. And
hallways and all that stuff.
Right. And and the window unit that I had in our master bedroom crapped out. And when I went to buy a new one, they didn't have any big ones. So I got a little 5,000 BTU unit.
Not cutting it.
And it is not doing the job.
How is the roof that the tree fell on?
We're in process. Yesterday was adjusters, roofers, blah, blah, blah. We're in process. We're making headway. But it is a little more than I had anticipated in damage. And yeah, I don't know.
So you're sweating and dealing with a problem that doesn't make things better, just gets things back to where they should be.
Yes, and the reality of it is I had all the sycamores removed that fell. I had all those cut out and removed, which was another process. And then
so is your backyard not as, I guess, whimsical as it had? Like when I went to your backyard, like, I mean, it's like, it's an interesting lot, but then you get back there and it feels like it's your own little Garden of Eden. Does this open it up now? Is it not as shaded?
It opened up a section that I didn't want open. And so what I did was I went out and bought 7.5 foot green giant arborvitaes, and I dug them and planted them back there because they can grow anywhere from like 30 feet tall and 6 to 12 feet wide.
I've never heard of those.
Yeah, green giant arborvitae. They're beautiful.
Which ones are these things?
The one with the 2 people standing in it.
Those. So you bought 7 footers.
I bought 7.5 footers, and planted them back in the open space. Random, so it looks like nature, not like a corn row, but real random back there. And they grow. They'll grow 3 to 5 feet a year for the first few years. So I'm hoping
so they'll be 20 feet tall in 3 years.
Yeah, and it'll block everything back out. But I didn't want to. It's hard to plant back there because there's so many old growth trees. Some of the trees are, well over 140 years old back there. They're gigantic. And when I was digging holes to plant these arborvitaes, I had to get a saw out there to cut all the roots, because you dig down 4 inches and there'd be a root ball the size of a baseball bat. And then I'd have to cut that, and then, blah, 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 the deal.
Yeah, I had 4.
Yeah, Joey. Yes. Yeah.
I had 4 on the front side of my property, 4 of the pines or whatever that you could tell they had like planted. Like they still had the plastic 5-gallon jug like around them, and then like all the things that kept them growing
they're
straight up.
Supposed to remove those when you plant them.
Yeah, well, 2 of them kicked the bucket last year, and 2 of them are fantastic, but they're obviously planted for privacy.
Correct.
Because I have an easement on that side. There's really no one there, but whatever they chose are like the wimpy, like you can like see right through them. Like there's no substance to them. Yeah, they're not full at all. Like they're like the actual like pine trees that like you can see right through. I'm like, why did we not go with some
like blue spruce or something?
Why did we not go with some green giant arborvitaes over there? Like those things would have been like, I would have had like my own private compound then.
You would have. It's not too late.
Yeah, that's true.
It's not too late. And they're pretty. Okay, so the deer might like the arborvitae, but I was told the deer will not eat them. And so far, and I got piles of deer here. So far, they have not touched them.
So they're just fond of them.
They just like to look at them.
It's like an art gallery.
I know the one thing. My wife plants hostas and everything around the house, and she's got all these, flower elements all around the house. And she buys the deer-proof ones, the ones the deer don't eat. They eat everything. And they eat them down to the nubs, and she gets so mad. She gets so angry.
Leave us with this. You shared a delicious, somewhat controversial, depending on what you like, recipe, and it's been some time since you shared a little bit of a recipe on it. So, do you want to leave with with your masterpiece that you concocted this past week with some crappie fillets?
Sure. We can do that.
Okay.
So originally this was for walleye, and then I started doing it on crappie. So I didn't want to eat fried fish all the time. So my wife looked up a baking recipe for walleye, and we had it, and it was great. And so I tweaked some ingredients around just a smidge and made it into for crappie. So here's what it is. This is so simple. It's stupid. So first of all, you're using the whole fillet, right? So I take the fillet and I pat it down with a paper towel, and then I season the fillet with salt, pepper, and a little bit of Tony Shackers.
Sasheries.
Sasheries.
Yes.
Okay. Both sides of the fillet.
Yep.
You could throw in thyme if you want to.
Okay.
Then I get a Pyrex bowl, and I put like a stick and a half of butter in it, and I melt the butter down, and I mix salt, pepper, Tony Shackers, and a tablespoon and a half of lemon oil.
Okay. Lemon oil?
No, lemon juice.
Okay. I was like, I am unfamiliar with that product.
Yeah, no, lemon juice.
Okay.
Lemon juice. And then I take the fillet and I dip it in, and then I set it in the glass baking pan.
Like a
Pyrex
lasagna pan kind of?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I butter the bottom of it and then set the fillet in there. Then I do the other fillet.
Mm-hmm.
Then I take a yellow onion, or you could use a yellow onion or a white onion. I think the yellow onion's a little bit sweeter and better. The yellow onion, and I dice it up, and I take mushrooms and I dice them up. Then I take the onions and I drizzle them over the top of the fillet.
Raw still.
Then I take the mushrooms and I drizzle them over top of the onions. Then I take a little bit of that butter sauce and I pour it over the top of them. And then I stick it in the oven. You could do 350. I kind of expedite it. I go 375 or just a smidge under 400. Put it in there for 15 to 20 minutes, depending on how fat the fillets are.
Mm-hmm.
And then bake it. And to tell it's done, just get a fork and see if you can peel the mussels. If the mussels flake away, it's done. And oh my God, is it good?
And then the onions soften up and the mushrooms.
Oh yeah, they cook. The onions cook. The juice gets absorbed into the fillet. The mushrooms cook. All that umami gets sucked into the fillet. It is so.
So it's kind of like liver and onions, but with fish fillets, because fish is way better than onion or liver.
Yeah, I can't eat liver. I hate it.
But I'm just talking about like the mushrooms and the onions, and then you bake it and put it down. It's almost like a spin-off of liver and onions.
Yeah, pretty much. But it is
even just the phrase liver and onions. It just sounds disgusting to say.
Yeah, it does.
Like the way your mouth has to move when you say liver and onions. I just don't like it.
Why does that look like a scene out of Anchorman? The arsonist had oddly shaped feet.
Liver and onions.
Oh, we have stooped. We're going down the rabbit hole now. That's so funny.
There is one person who believes that liver is farce. The only, I don't know. I'm not anti-liver. It's never been something that I have.
I just don't like the irony taste of liver.
Yeah.
Now I'll eat the hearts and the kidneys, but I won't eat the liver.
I told you this would be controversial because there's a bunch of people that are not mushroom or onion fan. You know what I'm saying? Like We're talking with ingredients.
Yes, it is. I'll be honest with you. I can't stand onions.
I can't either unless they're incorporated into the dish, like a good caramelized onion. Like I'm not a raw onion guy.
Oh God, no. God, no.
But
no.
Some caramelized mushroom and onions to go along with the steak. Sign me up for that every single day.
Yeah. I'm not an onion guy, but this is so good, and that yellow onion is so sweet when it cooks down. It's just golly, is it good?
Break fishing is not. I mean, like he hunts for the liver. He said a good fresh deer liver with some celery, carrots, and onions makes hunting worth it. Like liver is one of his go-to organs, it appears.
Yeah, I just can't do liver, man. I could eat the hearts and the kidneys. I can't do the liver.
Gizzards, I'm all about gizzards.
Oh, for chicken gizzards?
Yeah.
Turkey, yeah.
But like a chicken, like if you have the gizzard and the liver option, like at the grocery store, you get the hot pound of chicken gizzards, but it's always right next to the chicken livers.
Yeah, I don't get to.
There's a zero. Like I'm not getting the chicken liver. I'm always going with the gizzard.
Yeah, I'm not touching the liver. I'm not. I've eaten it before. I've actually eaten it a lot.
I don't mind the beef liver is better than any other liver I've tried though. Beef liver is also better for catfishing because it stays on the hook more and you don't end up slinging a huge gob of liver into a nearby subdivision.
You can see the people eating, they all of a sudden splat on the window.
Boom, right. just a hunk of chicken livers. I mean, you know what I'm talking about though. I think we've all sent a glob of liver into orbit.
Oh yeah, there's no lie about that. There's no lie.
Usually at dark and it just disappears.
You get that one errant throw where you really want to get it out there and it's like, and in a second it's gone.
The beef liver stays on the hook way better. I got so sophisticated in my chicken liver fishing that I would stuff the chicken liver into a pantyhose.
Yeah. Nylon
and then seal it off and then freeze it in liver pantyhose balls. And then at night in the summer, as you would go, you could just take a hook it right through, and then it would actually seep out as you fished. And that was the easiest way to.
Yeah, that's how we did salmon eggs and steelhead eggs for steelhead fishing. You wrap them in a biodegradable mesh and freeze them.
There you go. We started with sound. We ended with liver. That's a vintage day 4.
That is taking it from one extreme to the other.
It is. 2 weeks. Show 250. I'll get with you. Maybe we can do some sort of giveaway for 250. That's you deal with the decision makers over there on that. So
yeah, we'll
maybe make a note on that. Like I said, we've got a new logo coming out with thanks for being a good sport on the shirt design at the beginning. That will never see the light of day, Frank, I can assure you.
250th episode
250th episode
giveaway
because this was 248, give or take. That's what we're going with. The next week is 249. Week following would be 250.
Yeah, I'll see if I can get some gift cards and stuff we can do.
Yeah, the gift codes seem to be a hit because that doesn't require any mailing. And
no, that's the easiest. That's the best way to do it.
Yep. Also want to remind you, Frank won't do it. I'll do it at the end of every show if you want to do a locker room session.
Oh yeah,
with Frank.
Yeah, you could email me at frank.scalish03@gmail.com.
Yep.
The locker rooms are good. They're good. Guys are loving them. They're going well, and I've been having a lot of fun doing them.
Yeah.
Some of you guys are absolutely fabulous people.
No, we don't do. We haven't yet. We don't do like a members only thing or anything like that for it. So the way you guys support the show, support the program by doing stuff like that, buying the merch, using the BTL code at lurenet.com for all these 250 or 248 free shows. So 100% appreciate what all the listeners, what all the viewers do, the way they support it, through Lurenet. Those guys notice it. They know about it. And that's what allows us to keep doing this. And I enjoy the hell out of it. And I hope we have at least 252 more of these things to go.
We will. We will.
We will. We got some cool stuff in the works over the next couple months. So can't thank you guys enough.
Absolutely.
It's been another edition of Day 4 with Frank Scalish. Same time, same place, next Thursday. We'll talk to everyone then.
Adios.